Many NFL legends spend their entire careers with the one team that drafted them. Makes sense, right? You draft a star, then you make sure you keep him. However, some NFL stars formed a legacy with a team other than the one that took them in the draft. Perhaps they were a late bloomer, or maybe their original team just gave up on them way too early. I'm Justin Fraction, and today we present 10 NFL legends you didn't know were drafted by random teams. Jim Plunkett, New England Patriots. Oakland Raiders fans are forever thankful for Jim Plunkett, the quarterback who guided this team to a pair of Super Bowl championships. But Raiders fans are also thankful for the New England Patriots for ignoring his talents. They drafted Plunkett first overall in 1971, but gave up on him after 4 years. The San Francisco 49ers took a chance on Plunkett, but he didn't do much there either. Plunkett finally found his niche in Oakland. He won the 1980 Comeback Player of the Year award and won 2 Super Bowls with them. Deion Sanders, Atlanta Falcons. Sanders is best remembered for his stints with 2 teams. Primetime joined the San Francisco 49ers in 1994 and helped them win a Super Bowl XXIX championship. Of course, many also remember Sanders signing with the Dallas Cowboys the following season where he'd win yet another Super Bowl championship. But many don't know or remember that it was the Falcons who drafted Sanders 5th overall in 1989. After 5 years in Atlanta, Sanders went ring chasing and chose to leave the team that drafted him. Fred Dean, San Diego Chargers. The star defensive end is widely associated with the San Francisco 49ers. After all, the 4-time Pro Bowler did help the 49ers win their first 2 Super Bowls in franchise history. He and Ronnie Lott formed one dynamic defense in San Fran. But it wasn't the 49ers who drafted Dean. It was actually the San Diego Chargers who selected him 33rd overall in 1975. However, Dean and the Chargers couldn't agree on a new contract, so he was traded to the Niners in 1981. And the rest is history. Steve Largent, Houston Oilers. Largent is one of the most dominant receivers in NFL history. The 7-time Pro Bowler and 2-time receiving leader spent his entire 14-year career with the Seattle Seahawks. He finished with 819 catches for 13,089 yards and 100 touchdowns. However, the Houston Oilers were the ones who drafted Largent 117th overall in 1976. But shortly after drafting Largent, the Oilers decided he wasn't going to be anything big, so they dealt him to Seattle for nothing more than an 8th-round draft choice. Let's just say the Oilers shouldn't have traded Largent, but they did, hence an NFL legend drafted by a random team. Cornelius Bennett, Indianapolis Colts. Bennett is one of the top players not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The former linebacker standout was named to 5 Pro Bowls, won 2 AFC Defensive Player of the Year awards, and finished with 71.5 career sacks. The Colts drafted Bennett 2nd overall in 1987, but the 2 sides couldn't reach an agreement, so Bennett got sent to the Buffalo Bills in a 3-way trade that also included Rams running back Eric Dickerson and Bills running back Greg Bell. Bennett helped Buffalo reach 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s, but they lost all of them. Still, he made the Colts look foolish for trading him shortly after drafting him. Champ Bailey, Washington Redskins. Bailey was one of the top shutdown corners of his era. The 12-time Pro Bowler finished with 52 career interceptions and was the lockdown force of the Denver Broncos secondary for a decade. But it wasn't the Broncos who drafted Bailey. Rather, it was the Washington Redskins who took him 7th overall in 1999. That draft pick came from the New Orleans Saints, who gave up all their draft picks so they could select running back Ricky Williams 5th overall. Bailey spent 5 seasons with Washington before being traded to Denver for a 2nd-round pick. The Mile High City is where Bailey really shaped his legacy, though. John Elway, Baltimore Colts. Yes, John Elway, the 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and 1987 NFL MVP. You can make a case that he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks to ever live. Elway turned a long-time losing Broncos squad into one of the very best. But oh, you kids probably don't know this. It was the Colts who drafted Elway 1st overall in 1983. Of course, his father had to convince John to stay away from the team, so he refused to play for them and was traded to the Broncos. The good news for the Colts? They did get Peyton Manning 15 years later. That works, right? Paul Krause, Washington Redskins. Krause is arguably the top safety to ever play the game. His 81 interceptions are an NFL record that'll probably never be topped. The Hall of Famer was a 9-time All-Pro and led the Minnesota Vikings to the 1969 NFL Championship. He also led this team to 4 Super Bowl appearances, though many lost each one. But folks, it wasn't the Vikes who drafted Krause. The Washington Redskins took him 18th overall in 1964. He spent 4 seasons there, but the team questionably traded him to Minnesota. That's where Krause became an NFL icon we all know and love today. Steve Young, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Young is an interesting case. For starters, he's one of the few left-handed quarterbacks to suit up in an NFL game. He's also a man who was so good, the San Francisco 49ers chose to keep him over 4-time Super Bowl champion Joe Montana. Young won 3 Super Bowls in San Fran, including one as their starter. He won 2 MVP awards and led the NFL in passing touchdowns 4 times. But it was the Buccaneers who took Young first overall in the 1984 NFL supplemental draft. But Young flopped in Tampa and was traded to the 49ers to serve as Montana's backup in 1987. Bad trade, Tampa. You only added to the 49ers dynasty. Johnny Unitas, Pittsburgh Steelers. As if the Steelers weren't spoiled enough with Terry Bradshaw in the 70s and Ben Roethlisberger currently, can you imagine if they had Johnny Unitas as their quarterback? Actually, they did. Pittsburgh drafted Unitas in the 5th round of the 1955 NFL Draft, but the Steelers didn't see much in Unitas and let him go. Unitas joined the Baltimore Colts in 1956. All he did was lead them to 3 NFL championships and 1 Super Bowl title while winning 3 AP NFL MVP awards. What other NFL legends were drafted by random teams? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you have any ideas for cool videos, let us know down there too. If you liked the video, then like the video. We really appreciate it. And last but not least, if you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that for more cool videos every single day. We'll see you next time.